Don't we have to go to the Board of Elections?
Yep, we can do that. I would like to call to order the Board of Elections to hear from our director, Michael Anderson.
Good job.
Good morning, Michael Anderson, Chief Clerk, Voter Registration. Just here today are 5 days from our initial signing of the election returns expired yesterday for any contests and or objections, and we did not receive any. Therefore, I would ask the board to do the final signing for the returns from the 2020 general election to make those returns final.
I'd be honored to make that motion to sign off on the ballot of the elections, and we still have that 130 that the courts could add to it by court order.
Yeah, actually, we'll talk about that here in a second.
So is your motion just to approve what we've certified already, Commissioner? Is that what I'm seconding?
Yes, knowing that that 130 is still out there, that's for clarification for the public.
Oh, thank you. I'll second the motion.
If we have a motion and a second, I suppose we should have some discussion. Is that correct?
From Michael, yes.
Oh, maybe from commissioners as well.
Yeah. But he said he had something to
Yeah,
say.
I mean, I have obviously the 130 ballots we have to discuss, but that does not affect the certification of the results that we signed last Thursday. So I was actually going to bring that up after this motion passed.
Great. That's what I just wanted to be clear on the motion. Thank you.
Yeah, before we vote on the motion, I would just like to comment again as to how confident I am, and I'm sure that although they can speak for themselves, my colleagues are, as to how we handled the election here and the computations and all the ballot counting here in Lebanon County. I think it was impeccable and above reproach, and just with the exception of a few glitches. But I would also like to take the opportunity to indicate, at least from my perspective and seeing it closely, I think the system is flawed, and we did the ultimate job within the parameters that have been given to us by the legislature and by the courts, but that not that they could not be improved upon. And my personal opinion is that the avalanche of mail-in voting causes a tremendous amount of pressure on voter offices in every county in the nation. And the more pressure and the greater number that you have ballots that come in that regard, makes the job more and more difficult, and more difficult to do a perfect job. So I'm hoping that the courts, and particularly the legislature, because this should not be in the charge of the courts. The courts should not be determining our election process and procedure. That is designated by the Constitution to the state legislatures, and they are the ones that should fix it. So I call on our legislators to take a close look at what we've been through here in Pennsylvania and to make proper adjustments. With that said, I'll call for a vote on the motion, unless there's other comment.
You did say commissioners will get a chance to talk.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Right. I respectfully disagree, sir,
Of
on
course.
the mail-in voting. I think that it went as good as could be expected, with the exception of that 130. During a crisis in America with the pandemic, it gave people an alternative, and that was one of many reasons. They didn't really need a reason. It's a no reason ballot, but especially during this pandemic, it gave people with compromised immune systems or spouses who might have something going on, an option. And I just think it was a godsend to have that available. And I want to say thank you to all the powers that be that made that happen.
Okay.
Bill, my only I'd like to just chime in. I think evidence of what you're, bringing forth in terms of your description of the process and so on, and your disappointment with it, is that I think 25% of the directors of elections in Pennsylvania resigned prior to this election because of this avalanche of mail and all the other accompanying issues and the pressures that were brought to bear on these election offices. So it's a tip of the hat to Michael for his team for the endurance and their class handling of all these challenges. But I think that speaks to the issues that we're facing. If 25% of those folks resign because they just, threw up their hands and said, I'm out of here, and left counties in the lurch. And certainly we appreciate Michael sticking with us.
That's
Not
the
only
best.
sticking with us, but doing a great job too
You
as
betcha.
well. So, yeah.
Yep.
Are there any questions from the outside on this at this point before we vote? Any hands raised?
Don't see any.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion indicate to certify the election results indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered, Michael.
Thank you. And then when you are in the office, there will be that certification form. There's actually 2 of them for you to sign to make that official. The last order of business I have, obviously, is the 3-day, what we call the 3-day ballots. So the 130 ballots that arrived to us after 8 p.m. on election day, but before 5 p.m. on November 6th that were postmarked or had no postmarks. We at this point have just held them. I actually, for visual purposes, draw here in the safe. So at this point, nothing has changed from our last meeting. Obviously, the Department of State, the only additional guidance that they have given us is that if we have counted them, which we are not required to, is that they want us to do a separate, what we call computation of those ballots. My suggestion to the board is that we stay the course with what we have done. I think that counting them at this point just muddies the water a little bit, because they say you can count them, but you can't put them in your official count. To me, that's confusing at best for voters. So until we get further guidance, my suggestion and my recommendation to the board would be that we would continue to hold these ballots until we get further direction. I know that this is still with the U.S. Supreme Court, based on a challenge that the state Supreme Court decision. So at this point, I would like to make the recommendation that we hold them, but we do a computation page that would be signed by the board that shows these 130 ballots that are made up of 116 ballots that were postmarked that they arrived on time, meaning they have a postmark of November 3rd or before. And then we have 14 that arrived with no postmark at all. That makes up 116, and 114 make up the 130 ballots. So that would be my recommendation to the board to address those 130 ballots.
I'm not certain that we need that. That is the action that we last took, and I would think that action would stand until we did something to change it. So does anyone have a different opinion?
Did we actually vote on that, Michael, before to hold
We
them?
did.
You did. I think the only change I have is just the signature part. I would like to have, the state is just asking us that part of our certification that's separate from our, since we didn't address it before, is just to basically say, yes, we have the 130 ballots. Here's the makeup of those ballots, and that we will hold them and keep them segregated until we get further court action. That would be
Understood.
the only difference. That's why I wanted to bring it up today, because I would like you to sign off on that recommendation.
Is there a certification for that, or a form for that, or a letter to be sent?
Yeah, I talked to the department. They actually gave us a certification form for the count, which obviously we didn't do. So then when I reached out to them, they said basically if I just put verbiage of the number of ballots and how they're broken out, and that we were holding them and segregating them based on any further court order, and that the board signed. That's what they would like from us.
Well, then I make a motion to fill in the form certifying signed by the commissioners, the Board of Election, the 30 ballots in question.
30.
130.
130, yes, correct.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Anything else, Michael?
That is all I have. I thank you all for your support. Appreciate the kind words. Must just obviously thank my staff who did a tremendous job, and all of the poll workers throughout the county and the individuals that came here to help us count. Could not have done it without them. So thank you all, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.